All right, hi, Melanie here. Create, that's what I do. Let me see if I can get this lit properly, eh? All right, you see. Okay, it's June 12th, 2026, Friday, and I keep saying this. Hi, how are you? Welcome to my channel, Create, that's what I do. A vlog about any and everything, particularly arts and crafts, but everything else too. Whatever comes to my mind. Thanks for joining me. So I've been saying for quite some time, I'm gonna get this video done. So I just made a video, so this will be two videos in one day. But I decided that, like, before I um, get, I, I keep saying I'm gonna make this video about this. I'm gonna make this video about this. And I don't do it, right? And I was like, okay, right now is the time for me to make this video. Before I keep saying, I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna make this video. Okay? I think I made a video like this before when I first started this project a long time ago. I thought it was terrible. I deleted it. But now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna make this video. This video. Okay, so here's the book uh, that I'm making. Oh, jeez. Let me go get the project. Hold on. All right, here's the project. I'm working a needlepoint project on plastic canvas. This is not what's recommended in the book, and I'm using different floss, and it's coming up different to the actual picture, but this is a project I'm working on. I've started it. If you checked out my other videos on needlepoint, and you see this picture, I discussed this quite a bit more in detail. But it's time to give a mention, okay? So this is British Country House Needlepoint, Francis, Kenneth, and Belinda Scarlett, okay? So they went around to these British expensive country houses and looked at the tapestry work and uh, interpreted or translated the work from these vintage pieces that uh, well-known artists have done, or I think royalty. So needlepoint tapestry, needlepoint work. Uh, I think the ideal is that needlepoint work became heirloom, if you will. Okay, heirloom pieces. 100% wool back then, I believe, Persian wool, and they became heirloom pieces. And royalty took a liking of these expensive aristocracy and royalty took a real liking to this tapestry work and did some needlepoint themselves, and it was put in their very expensive houses and their very expensive country houses, which became a thing for them to go get country houses, or their mansions, I think, or their castles, right? So I think the other ones are called mansions, these country houses, and the other ones are castles, okay? And they took a real liking to it, and it elevated that whole deal totally elevated needlepoint onto some whole other level, okay? Because of the classist system of how these British royals and aristocracies were really into this needlepoint tapestries and heirloom levels. So they had quite a that in their homes. So they went to these expensive places in Britain, and they interpreted a fair share of the needlepoint into charts. What they wanted to. And the one I'm doing is a William Morris one, okay? Because William Morris was commissioned for work for them too. So the one I'm doing is, and I just wanted to share one of these pictures, but let me find the picture. Hold on. I hope the light is bright enough. But here, this couch is in somebody's expensive place, and that's all needlepoint tapestry, and that's the artwork behind that. That's in their, is it castle? I think it's in their castle. This was Antique Sofas, the Burgley, Burgley house. okay? Or they're country mansion type places. This is the pillow I'm doing. This is the William Morris design. This is the original pillow that they took a picture of. Okay, this is a pillow. Love these colors, but I didn't want to do something dark. So this is the original pillow. Okay, am I getting this sharp enough? Hopefully, that's the original pillow. And this is William Morris cushions. This is the stand-in house. All right, and they interpreted into their chart and color suggestions and so let's see if I can. The pillow is here, and then there's another. This is a different design, and then there's the repeat. These are the two of the same pillows, and then there's this pillow here. And I'm gonna turn this around. So there is the pillow. That's the original William Morris pillow. I decided to do this right here because it looks like it's going to be a better view. I'm holding the book. That's the second pillow that was the William Morris design, which is also in the chart. It's also in this book. And then this is the, there's two of those same pillows. And this is in the stand-in house. And this was the work. I don't think that's needlepoint. Maybe it's a painting. I'm not sure. And this represents the Englishman's dream of a country house, late Victorian, comfortable with a modest degree of grandeur, setting folding hillsides with modest views of established gardens on all sides. Okay. The architect was Philip Webb, a lifelong friend and colleague of William Morris, artist, poet, social reformer who transformed taste in interiors at the end of the last century. Stand-in is the only major Webb house to survive intact. It was built in 1891 to 1892, towards the end of his career, and conveys the essence of his Morris ideals. Far from the greenery Valerie, criticism often leveled at the arts and crafts movement. They believed a high standard of craftsmanship would produce good art and architecture, rather than a conscious borrowing of period styles debased by commercialism and mass production. So you see the industrialization thing was already taking place. The house was planned as a modest weekend retreat for a large London-based family and cited adjoining a much older building, the home farm of the property. Okay, so to give you a little bit, fast forward, skipping a few sentences, but inside it is rich indeed, filled with beautiful art, furnishings, some from Morris' own firm, embroideries, ceramics of all styles, hand-woven carpets, and a great collection of original Morris wallpapers and textiles. So this is a little black and white drawing or rendition of, I guess of the house. Okay, from the 1890s. Let me pause. I can give you another picture of one of the other houses. And of course, some of this tapestry has faded with time, and the works have been, the dyes have, but this is from the Glamis Castle, Glamis Castle. Glamis Castle is the legendary setting for Shakespeare's tragedy of Macbeth. This is the Earls of Strathholm and Kingholm have lived in Glamis Castle since 1372, a continuity of possession, which means that the castle contains family treasures of extreme rarity and historic value. Okay, so this is this castle. I'm going to pause this. All right, this is like, I think, recovered some of the works that's there. All right, I'm trying to get it so there could be a full picture that you could see. This is the book that I am working from. Frances Kennett and Belinda Scarlett. Okay. Quick pause while I get another picture. This one is from Castle Ashby. Okay. So you can, it's hard to see, but if you look, this whole entire wall is needlepoint. It's needlepoint. This in their big castle. I'm gonna turn it, maybe a bit clearer view. Coming, coming. And there is the needlepoint tapestries. You know, it's somewhere, what year is this? Somewhere in 1574. Okay, the year 1574. This is in these people's castles. Ashby Castle. Look at that. Look at this castle. Look at the work on the furniture, the ornateness, the detail, the upholsteries. If you can see the ornate. And the other wall is with the tapestries, needlepoint. Okay, I think it's something called a petite needlepoint. With the tapestries, the dyes have faded out, so it has a, you know, that very like faded vintage patina, because that's what happened. I think because these are from 17 something, somewhere. They got the castle in 15 something, but I think this work is 1700s. Okay. This work is somewhere in the 1700s, and this needlepoint work, and there's the other wall too, two large tapestries, and this needlepoint work was in these wealthy people, financially rich or wealthy people's houses, castles, castles, castles. Okay, 100% Persian wool, and the uh, these creatives, these makers interpreted some of the work or translated some of the work into charts of these castles or country homes they visited, and that's where I'm getting that from. And if you don't know, Bargello is a form of needlepoint, or Bargello, and uh, the flaming Bargello, and this is what's left of this particular piece, which I think they tried to restore. That's a curtain, Bargello. There's the chart, by the way. But there's the curtain, Bargello, that's in this, um, the flame stitch room is what it's called. It's in Chastleton. It's flame stitch room and Tudor cushion. And this is up close of how that fabric looks today. And, well, when they took the picture. And I think they're talking 1663 for this. For this one, I guess that's a black and white drawing rendition of the Chastleton, and I think that was the curtain that they used. So needlepoint really was very, very much, you know, um, what's the word? I guess elevated, and became heirloom pieces, and they were put in these expensive places, and some of the folks did the work. Some of these royal or, you know, aristocracy, I guess, they did the work. So this is their color rendition of the pillow. There's the chart, right? And this was their color rendition of the pillow that they used. And I think they used Aran yarn, but this is the stand-in house. And just a quick one, this is the Belton house. So they had whole entire chairs they covered in these 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 places, just to give you a little bit. Super interesting book, and you know, it's just a whole historical aspect that they give a bit of excerpts on, and the copyright on the book is 1988. Okay, so they interpreted some of these pieces on that they seen into, let's try into charts, and they took some artistic license, of course. Some of them, this is another old picture. You see how the canvas is faded out? Because probably because it's like 1600, 1700 or something, right? So they interpreted some of these charts. I don't know, it just feel kind of itchy. They interpreted some of these charts in their own, uh, or did samplings maybe of uh, the work, and some of them it looks like they didn't. They just took pictures and then translated into a chart. Much appreciate the effort. Very grateful for that. And that's how that that is. This is where I got the book. I grabbed the book at I think it was Value Village. You know, really inexpensive because it's a thrift store, Value Village, and I've been meaning to work on this for a long time, but I just want to give a little excerpt of information on this book, where I got the chart from, and a great mention to them. I'm so grateful and thankful that they put the effort and put that work out there. I don't remember looking them up to see if they're still up there online or the internet people or social media, or do they have blogs, or um, I don't know. If I did, I don't remember. It would have been a long time ago that I looked up to see these authors, but they're needlepoint artists. At least what I see from this book, they translated this. This is also the Bargello stitch, the flame stitch that's covering this whole entire chair in one of these expensive, these big time uh, financial of wealth, but that's one of the chairs that is totally covered in the Bargello flame stitch. And wealthy people, some of these people have some choice words as to how they got their wealth, but oh well, that's in the past. Okay? But this is, and they have an interpretation on this. And I'm really not one for animals on needlepoint. But there's a few of them with the birds, especially a William Morris one, especially. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I feel like making some animals, but I'm not really one for animal prints. Like there's an elephant, or there's a bird, or it's not quite my deal. Uh, I'm like, but there's a few of them. The colors are so vibrant, and I'm considering maybe I'm going to have some animal cushions or animal pillows in needlepoint. I am considering that. So yes, finally, um, this is where I've started some of, or the, as to date, I would say this is probably the largest piece I'm working on. That's a story in itself too. I keep forgetting I did the needlepoint stocking also for Christmas. It's like, oh, I just can't seem to remember what that's all about, but it comes up in my mind every so often, and this is a part of this work. This is how elevated needlepoint tapestries uh, are. And according to them, some of these works in here, you and I could never buy them, right? Unless you won that, you know, $512 million lottery or something. That's primarily they think. And I'm gonna give you, and it's two of them. So take a look at this. The front cover, right? There's a picture of this in the book. Here is the needlepoint there. Florentine stitch chairs. The beginning of the entry in the Doomsday Book, referring to the manor of Doomsday, reads, Terra Milanus Crispin, situated close to Windsor, an easy ride from London. The land would always have had value, and recent excavations show that there was a substantial manor house there in medieval times. By the 16th century, though, it belonged to the Lord Mayor of London, Sir William Gerard. His daughter married Sir James Palmer of Kent, and from that time the house has remained in the Palmer family. No kidding. How bizarre is that? So, I think this one is dating to maybe wedding in the female mother, 14, somewhere to 14 to 1600s, right? Something like that. But take a look at this. This is needlepoint, totally upholstered in these chairs. Okay, there is needlepoint. These chairs are thoroughly upholstered in needlepoint. You know, the fabric covering. And here they interpreted the chart for one of them, and they interpreted the chart for the other one. Okay, isn't that amazing? So this is needlepoint, and they translated the chart, and the fabric is totally a needlepoint, and it's the cloth, obviously, not the plastic canvas. So if, maybe inspiration. You have a footstool, you have a small sofa chair. It doesn't have to be old-fashioned like this, or of this time, unless that's your particular taste or aesthetic. That look, these easily could be used to do small sofa chairs, come up with some kind of pattern, a small footstool, come up with some type of needlepoint, all in your colors, possibly 100% wool, maybe a mix the wools, all kinds of ideas with this. So there's a footstool I saw at, because I need one actually, because I have my couch raised and I plan to raise it just a little bit more. And I saw this footstool at, was it Marshalls or Winners or something? And I'm like, I need a footstool because my legs start to feel uncomfortable because they don't go all the way down because my couch is a bit raised. So I'm not sure I would do something, maybe Bargello. I love Bargello. But I'm looking, maybe I'd do something a bit more, I don't know, is this modern? Maybe it's sort of vintage, but sort of maybe it's going to be more in the colors. Well, probably more, well, I don't know, I love vintage, so maybe it's going to look vintage, but maybe it's just a little more take modern-wise. All kinds of things you can do with needlepoint. Tremendous amount of things, cushions, pillows, rugs, coverings for furniture, coasters, bags, vests, clothing, eyeglass cases. Very versatile medium, especially if you're using the cloth canvas. All right, God bless you. May the universe do you really well. Enjoy your summer. Really enjoy your summer. Melanie here, vlogging from Toronto, Canada. Wish me well with this project. I still have to finish the project. It's about 14 inches by 16. And as you can see, it looks very different to the finished projects of the pillows on there. But I'm following the chart almost exactly, minus my errors. And I love the way it's coming out. I'm really, really happy with this. But this truly is a challenge in terms of the finish line. But I don't feel like I'm not going to finish it. But granted, I'm not 3/4 of a way into the project yet. So I think this is going to go up on my wall. I'm really excited about the way this is coming out. And I chose different colors. It's embroidery floss. It's not wool. So I dropped the paper. So yeah, enjoy your summer, enjoy every day. Bye for now.